David Ditsch,
Yes, sir.
you wear many hats. That one says UK Ag Extension.
Yes, that's
Now,
me.
as you look at your title right here, that's one of your titles, one of many titles. You have an interesting job. You travel around the state. You do all kinds of interesting stuff. But today, we're here, and we're going to talk about a small plot of land that I have, and I would like to bring some hair sheep in. Now, there's a reason for that. I don't want to mess with shearing them. I want them for meat. My problem is I might get attached to them, and you know how it goes.
Sure.
I might end up dying of old age here, but my goal is to have some meat there. As you have taken a stroll around here, you know, I have a varied landscape. I've got some low spots, I've got some bushy spots. What can I do with this plot of land?
Well, I think the diversity of your landscape actually lends itself very well to hair sheep or goats. Any small room and it would do very well. You've got a combination of grass pasture. You've got a combination of browse within your wooded tract of land here. Both of those are very, very nutritious, provided they're managed properly.
Right. Now, one thing that you said immediately is I got to find me some water.
Correct. Water is probably the one factor in a grazing system that sometimes provides the most limitation. So yeah, you need a reliable source of water, clean source of water, and you've got to be able to put it in areas where you're going to divide your pastures up into small paddocks for rotational grazing.
Now, obviously, an issue that I've been dealing with on a small scale with chickens and so on and so forth, and now that I'm bringing these animals in, is predation. And goodness gracious, every night it sounds like the Wild West over here with about 80,000, you know, it's probably 5 or 6, but it sounds like a million coyotes over here. And you have offered some insight on that as well with the fencing and with animals.
Right, I think in most cases in most of Kentucky anymore, we do have those predators, coyotes and other animals. And to deal with them successfully, you're going to have to look at a combination of good perimeter fencing, woven wire, and probably guard animals. And there's several choices, and you can talk to many, many people and they can give you advice on what has worked well for them. But you do have options. You've got dogs, you've got donkeys and jennies, horses, different things work for different folks. But I think you've got to use a combination of both to be successful and protect your livestock. But again, your objective, you want to grow some hair sheep, you want to do it well, you want to produce some meat, you got to protect them from the predators, you got to make sure they've got clean water, and then you want to manage your pasture so it's sustainable, it recovers well, and it's highly nutritious.
Now, I've got less than 20 acres, and as you looked around, you probably said, let's go on the conservative side, which I don't want that many anyway. So you said maybe 3 mamas and 3 babies.
I think that's where I would start. I think it's always wise for folks that are going into a new livestock enterprise to take it very conservatively.
Right.
Figure out what the land can support, what your time and your other resources can support. So in your case, I think I'd start out with maybe 3 ewes, no more than 5 ewes, and you probably have enough pasture and browse. You might be able to move that up to a total of 10 or 15, but work into it, get used to it.
Right. Now you can see that we've got some, now here's where you talked about predator issues. They got places to hide, they got places to crawl under stuff, so that's a real issue.
It is, and I think what you probably will want to do, because you have so much of this and you have a lot of predators in the area, probably would want to bring your livestock in at night. Put them into some sort of a pen that's well secured. You're going to sleep easier at night. Fort Knox, yeah, build it up, right, yeah, protect the little babies, and then bring them back and give them access during the day when the predator, problem is not as great. But yeah, a lot of cover here, but a lot of food, very nutritious food for these goats or sheep.
Very good. Let's take a look at some pasture.
Okay.
Area. All right, as you look around, David, you see what I've got here. It's a kind of a mixed bag. I got some grasses, and this was a field that was just grown up, and it was full of all kinds of thickets. Now we got some, as you look around, is this appropriate graze?
Well, I think it's a very common Kentucky pasture. You've got a combination of cool season grasses, some tall fescue, some orchard grass. You've got some white clover, a little red clover, and then you've got a mixture of some other broadleaf weeds. Very typical pasture, and certainly in its current state can support some grazing. It may still offer an opportunity to do some improvement, some renovation.
Right.
And again, in order to do that well and successfully, get good information, timing, seeding rates, fertilization, all those things play into how successful you're going to be in trying to get this pasture exactly where you want it. But you've got enough here to get started. But I certainly think maybe your plan would be to improve it over time and maybe eliminate some of the broadleaf weeds, putting something in here that your sheep are going to probably benefit more from as they graze.
All right, David, right here in my little patio area, I like to have a little water source, nice relaxing sound in the background. Is this adequate for animals?
Sure, depending on whether you're talking about sheep and goats versus horses and beef cattle.
Right.
Yeah, this could supply plenty of water for 3 or 5, 10 ewes.
Right.
And you've got it located perfectly, so you're catching water out of a watershed here. You've got your liner in it, so you don't have to worry about it, losing your water through a sinkhole. So yeah, a source of water like this could be perfect. And located, if you have other opportunities to do the same thing on your property, you can provide some more access to water for your livestock. If you break up some of this area into smaller paddocks and rotate through the summer, always giving them access to some good water is a good idea.
All right, so overall, you would give me the green light to get this thing started.
Absolutely. I think you've got adequate pasture, you've got plenty of browse, you've got your water taken care of, and you can move that to a couple different locations. All you really need to do now is consider how you're going to fence and how many you want to invest in and how that fits into your schedule so you can manage them properly. But you've got a good place to get started, Tim.
Information, information, information. UK has got a vast source of that. After we get done here, I'm going to visit some websites and do my research. Then I'm going to start looking for a source where I can go buy me some animals and get started.
Sounds exciting to me.
Thank you, sir, for coming over today.
Thank you. My pleasure.